Freeman Boat Works and Trilogy Outdoors are proud to announce the addition of Freeman Boat Works to our family of incredible partners. Billy Freeman and his team at Freeman Boat Works epitomize the American dream. From building the first boat in Billy's backyard to a 150,000 square foot state-of-the-art manufacturing plant over the past 15 years, they are building one of the most sought-after boats in the U.S. and beyond. These incredible fishing platforms are built in South Carolina and are second to none in stability, speed, and performance overall. These catamaran designs are engineered not only to get you to the fish fast, but comfortably too. Years of refining designs and pioneering the modern performance fishing catamaran is why Freeman Boat Works is the #1 choice for some of the biggest names in the fishing industry. If it's long runs in the Gulf or the Carolinas, or days you can go fishing in South Florida when most center consoles stay at the dock, Freeman Boat Works is at the forefront in all categories. For more information on Freeman Boat Works and their 6 available models, visit www.freemanboatworks.com. Redefine your expectations. Michelob Ultra and Myrtle Beach wholesaler Southern Crown Partners Incorporated know our consumers enjoy relaxing days on the water with Mich Ultra's crisp and refreshing taste in hand. It's important to remember to drink and boat responsibly. Choose to be or to designate a sober skipper before leaving the dock. Do it for your family and friends, your passengers, and everyone else on board. Michelob Ultra salutes all sober skippers who take the pledge. Cheers, and we'll see you on the water.
For over 8 years, GovWorld Auctions has been solving surplus issues for municipalities and counties in South Carolina and beyond. Their turnkey customer service has made them one of the best in the business here in the U.S., and they are located right here in our home state of South Carolina. If you're looking for tractors, heavy machines, and vehicles, just to name a few, our partners at GovWorld have you covered. The process is simple, and their experts will come to you to inspect, photograph, and video all items before they make them available to everyone in the world for the bidding process. GovWorld online auctions are supported by mailers, emails, and promotion to the biggest buyers in the country, and they get results and the highest dollar possible for your items. Don't go out of state to another auction company. Support business here in South Carolina and let GovWorld get you top dollar for your items and put the money back in your city, municipality, or county. Give GovWorld a call or visit their website, govworld.com, for more info and to set up a visit with one of their experts to get you in the next auction. Don't let valuable items just sit behind a fence. Give GovWorld a call and start turning them into money today.
In Myrtle Beach, you always go at your own pace. Lie out on the sand, lie out by the pool, go boogie boarding, go surfing, walk the boardwalk, walk the marsh walk, golf at one of 90 golf courses, mini golf at one of 50 mini golf courses, fish off a pier, fish from a chartered boat, go shopping, get drinks, eat the freshest seafood. The list is exhaustive, but the experience isn't. You can go all out or do nothing at all. How you relax is up to you. There is so much to do and explore, whether you're traveling with friends, family, or just yourself. With 60 miles of beach, you're going to find your place. If this sounds like what you need, then this is where you belong.
Hey, do y'all like fishing for prizes? Maybe a trip to Costa Rica or a once-in-a-lifetime African safari? Well, the Grand Strand Fishing Rodeo is back. Thanks to the hard work of Visit Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Trilogy Outdoors Media, this once-popular event is back and is bigger and better than ever. This event is comprised of 12 monthly competitions that culminate in November with our annual banquet and expo, the celebration of fishing on the Grand Strand. New to this event is the freshwater division that will help include all of our anglers that live and visit the Grand Strand throughout the year. Monthly species winners will receive great prize packages from Bass Pro Shop and Surf Signs and Designs. But most importantly, they will receive an invite for them and a guest to our annual banquet and an entry in the grand prize drawing. So whether you fish the rivers, a pond, the pier, the surf, or a boat, you have a chance to win the grand prizes. To get signed up or for additional information, visit TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com and click on event. Also, you can visit any of our weigh stations and registration stations to get signed up as well. Best of luck to everyone, and we'll see you at the scale.
Trilogy Outdoors. Right, folks. Trilogy Outdoors podcast coming back at you. And I know we've taken a little break. Let me tell you, it's fall. Life gets busy. And quite honestly, I have been busy. I've had a lot going on, and obviously, the senator dealing with all of his stuff that he's been dealing with. However, just so everybody knows, he's going to be back here in South Carolina. He is going to be rejoining me, backing me up here moving forward. And I'm looking forward to it, getting back into the other Trilogy Outdoors podcast studio. But for now, I'm sitting in my studio. And that is my back porch. Got my TV going. Well, actually, I don't, but this is also where my guest who is joining us this week, this is where I have gotten to watch him the last 2 weekends as he is trying to secure, and I'm just saying that because I already feel and I know he's already secured it, his position among the elites of bass fishing on the Elite Series, and that is the one and only JT Thompkins from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right here in our backyard. JT, man, thank you so much for joining me on your road trip today to chat a little bit.
Yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity to come on here. So I'm super excited to get talking.
Well, man, you and I text a bunch. I wear you out. I know. You become, I think going back, I mean, first off, I remember you from years in Tony's Thursday tournaments and in other local bass tournaments when you were kind of just starting into it yourself. Of course, your dad obviously had been fishing here for a while and a really, really, really good stick himself. But I remember the first time we had you on the radio show in the studio, you actually won something on the MLF side of things, correct? Didn't you?
Yes, I won the Harris Chain event, actually where I'm going now. Our next event is at Harris Chain, and I won the Harris Chain event in the Toyota Series. I think it was in 2021.
That's right, 2021. And you were, at that point in time, help me out here, I think you were still 18, or had you already turned 19?
I think I just turned 19, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. I might have been 18, though.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I want to clarify one thing before we get going, and I want to just say this. Everybody's going to, I have been talking to so many people and promoting you and telling people, hey, y'all need to watch him. Please follow this guy. He's a local kid, and I'm calling you a kid because you're already 21. But the guy has worked so hard, and, a lot of people will say, oh, man, it's so inspirational. At least other kids can see it. They'll know that it's possible, and I am on that page. However, I am also a realist in a sense that I also understand the sacrifices that JT Thompkins makes day in and day out to pursue his career. And JT, you need, first off, a big pat on the back, a big round of applause, and everything else for that. But the fact of the matter is, you chose this path. You knew you were going to do this, and you chose this path, and you have pretty much put everything else in life on the back burner just for this bass fishing. Am I right?
100%. With how much competition the bass fishing industry has seen recently, it's either you're all in or you're going to waste your time. The competition level in these opens is I'm pretty sure the statistic right now is just to make the elites, to finish 10th place, which is the or 9th place, which is the qualifying line.
Right.
Is taking the same amount of points right now, actually a little more, than it took to win the points the year before.
Huh.
So the skill gap that's growing every single year is insane. So I knew there was only one way for me to really have a chance to make the elites and be one of the best, and that was to sacrifice everything and get on the road for 300 something days of the year. And I usually only see home for probably a total of 30 to maybe 45, 60 days a year. And that's it. So that, like you said, you really have to sacrifice everything and just travel around the country and, basically traveling by yourself the entire time too. So there's definitely a lot of sacrifice to it, but it's definitely, it's my dream. I want to train any other in the world, and I'm super happy I have the opportunity to be able to do it. So
well,
I'm super happy with everything, the way it's going.
Yes, and I had the pleasure of sitting with your dad, Timmy, and by the way, y'all, I'm telling you, the Thompkins family are all fishermen. They are. Carlton, Timmy, Jacob, JT. Now, your brother, you have a brother, right? He doesn't fish.
He does not fish. He's my half brother, and Yeah, he does not enjoy fishing at all.
Well, you take you make up for that. You make up for that yourself. So, but they are an incredible fishing family. Your dad has won and placed and done great on the national level as well, hadn't he?
Yes, he has.
Well, he and I had a great talk. We were at his former place of business, and I was actually filling up a propane tank with some of your family's propane, I believe. And we got to chatting and talking about the comparison of golf or any sport really and bass fishing. And I had the opportunity later in life at 22 years old, 23, to pursue golf as a career. Had some sponsors and everything else, and I'm going to tell you, I completely flubbed it. I completely did everything that you shouldn't do. I spent times at the bars. I spent time chasing women. I did everything that you don't want to do when you get the opportunity. You have done everything that you want to do when you get the opportunity, and that is take advantage of that opportunity. And it has been so exciting and so much fun. Not just this year. I'm not a bandwagoner. You know that. I have been following you for 4 years now at least, but it has been so exciting this year. Of course, you killed me this summer. I can't believe that y'all take 2 or 3 months off, but, to follow you and then to see the last 2 weeks. JT, do you know how awesome it is? And to do what you've done the last 2 weeks, do you realize how awesome it is?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what to say about it. It's very all new to me as well.
Well, just so everybody that's listening knows, JT not only finished in the top 10 last 2 weeks ago at Watts Bar, he also finished top 10 this week. Let's go back, because you finished runner-up last week, right?
I finished sixth at Ozarks. I finished second at Watts Bar, and I finished, I think, fifth or sixth at St. Lawrence, the tournament before that as well.
See, I forgot that one. Yeah, I forgot that one. And that is why you right now are the number one seed or the number one standing in the EQ points for the year. And you were telling me that you are how many points now ahead of second?
I know it's over 200, but I don't know what the exact number is.
Okay. All right.
I know I don't even have to catch a fish in the last tournament to qualify for the elites. That's the main thing. That was my goal of the year, was to not have to worry about Florida, because Florida is a dangerous state to have to make a comeback in.
So you had luck on Harris Chain, and if I'm not mistaken, that luck. I mean, I say luck. I'm not. Listen, we all know. I fish competitively too. We all know luck plays a big role in it. But you had great success at Harris Chain. What time of the year was it?
That was March 13th to the 15th, I believe.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, those fish are actually getting in their summer patterns,
yep.
And they'll stay in that same summer pattern, because March for them is summer. So those fish were in a summer pattern from then all the way to now. So it's actually going to set up a lot of the same ways. It's just they're going to be a lot more fish. They're going to be a little harder to catch. So kind of honestly sets up a little bit more in my wheelhouse.
Right.
Because I love tough tournaments. The tougher it is, the better I do usually.
Yep.
So I'm kind of excited to get down there and see what happens.
Well, I tell you what, I know you earlier on the phone when we were talking and setting this up, you did mention to me that to win the EQ points Angler of the Year for all the EQ, for all the for all the opens, would be another just huge feather in your cap. And man, you're right on track with that. Now, how about the pre-fishing for down there? You guys are fishing the 12th, 13th, and 14th. Am I correct?
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So you'll get when will it open up for pre-fishing, or is it open now?
No. So we only get 5 days before the tournament to practice. So
wow.
I think it opens up the 9th or the 10th, and I'll be able to practice for 4 days. I think 4.5 days of practice.
Yep.
Leading up to the tournament.
Now, is Jacob traveling with you?
No, he's actually going to stay at the Ozarks, and he's actually going to fish the tournament at the Ozarks. It's the Toyota Series in a week.
Oh, okay.
That starts this Thursday.
And then he'll come down to the Harris Chain and fish the last one?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Because I do know your mom and I have been talking, and your dad. But your mom and I have been talking. I do know that we're going to try. I mean, man, I would love to come down there. I would love to come down there and watch you and watch you go across the stage on the day 3. But I would at least love to get down there and come to the weigh-in and celebrate with you. I know we've talked about it, and I'd love to come down and cover it for our magazine here and for anybody else here locally. Because, dude, I mean, what you're doing, I mean, this kids wake up. I mean, when did you start dreaming of this? I mean, that's the other. Let's go back to that. Let me go backwards here a little bit. When did you start dreaming of a career in professional bass fishing?
Honestly, I never really thought it was a possibility to do it as a career. I didn't know it could be. I knew it always could be a career, but really it was pretty late. Like I always fished out of a John boat for a long, long, long time. And then once, I think when everything started clicking was when I started fishing high school.
Yep.
And I ended up winning the points. I was the points champion when I fished high school that one year. Then I went to the national championship for high school bass fishing. And I think that was the first glimpse I ever saw of wanting to do it as a career. And I think ever since then, I think my dad realized, we had what it took. And I think it was the year after that I started traveling. My dad started flying me out to all of the FLW tour events back in the day. And I fished all of them as a co-angler for the entire year. And then I also fished a few tournaments as a boater and the Potomac River and then linear and stuff like that. And that was when I truly realized that is what I wanted to do. I felt like I had a knack for it. I felt like I picked it up pretty quick, and I that's when I first got the glimpse that I could probably do this. And that was kind of where it all started. Was probably around that 14 to 16-year-old mark. But I've been doing it. I've been in the tournament, small local tournament scene since I was probably 4 or 5 years old. But I just didn't realize that I could do it until I was probably 14 to 16.
Right. Did you play any other sports? Did you play soccer? Your mom was telling me you played soccer, right?
Yeah, I love soccer. Like, that was one of the things that I loved doing, but ended up being something that I couldn't pursue because we just didn't have enough time on our hands. I used to play travel soccer for a travel team for a couple years, and that was probably one of the number one things I enjoyed. And then I played through high school, but the travel ball was something I really enjoyed, but we just didn't have enough time, between both parents working. Then my brother had to leave for college, and that was kind of when I couldn't do it anymore. So I really enjoyed soccer. That was another sport that I really took a passion in, but it just never worked out. But fishing kind of took over that spot, in my heart to drive for competition. So.
Your mom voiced her opinion. I think she was happy that when you switched from soccer to fishing.
100%. The thing is with me, like I'm purely competition based. Like it doesn't matter. Everyone yells at me because I'm way too competitive.
Yep.
Like if it's not a competition, I just have zero interest in it and I don't have any fun. There's got to be some sort of a competition aspect to it.
Wow.
For me.
Wow. That is dude, that is a great trait for you to have. I mean, here moving forward, and you're, I mean, like I said, your next year, I haven't even got into your experience at the Bassmaster Classic. I want to talk about that, but your experiences over the last couple of years are grooming you and have been grooming you. But, dude, come October 14th when you get that. I don't know. Do they give y'all membership cards or whatever? In PGA Tour we get a money clip. We got you get a money clip.
Yep.
But you get your official membership status. That's when life changes, and I'll tell you, you are really good at balancing your time. We all know that. Everybody that watches you, every fan of yours, we know that. But guess what? Now you're getting ready to have to throw in all these sponsors in the mix that are going to take away from time on the water. And man, are you prepared for that? You think you're ready for it?
Honestly, so one thing that's big on, like, I haven't really worried about sponsors or social. Like, a lot of people know that my social media is not very good. My sponsorship game is not very good.
We're gonna work on that. Keep going. We're gonna work on that. Keep going.
So I've always been. My number one thing is these guys are so good that it takes 100% of my game to be able to beat these people and compete at the high level. to where a lot of other people, they can separate it. They can, they can do 70% fishing, 15% social media, or 20% family and 10% social media. I have put it in my mind to it is 100% bass fishing. I don't have any other time for anything else. It occupies every thought every single day. 24 hours a day when I go to sleep, when I'm dreaming. It's everything. So next year it can't be like that. It just can't. I'm gonna have it's a lot of money to get out there. So I'm gonna have sponsorships to help me afford to be able to be out there, and that's gonna occupy some time. And I'm gonna have to learn to balance it in a different way. Now previously I've balanced a lot of things like when to go to what lakes, when to go to, when to practice for certain tournaments so it replicates the right amount, or when to go to a lake when the water level's further down than any other time of the year, so I can kind of see what I'm fishing with visually instead of scanning it. So all I'm gonna have to do is adjust the way I adjust my time frames, and just make slight adjustments for sponsors, and try to do it as smart as possible. That way it doesn't hinder my fishing abilities. So I'm not 100% prepared for it, I'll be honest, but it's something that, I'm always up for the next challenge, and, that's the next one, and I'm super excited to get on with it. And as soon as Harris spins, I got to get on the phone and get on the grind of getting these sponsors lined up and having it where I can, because you want to do your job as well. You don't want to be one-sided. You don't want to take. You always want to. You never want to be, out of balance with your sponsors. You want to be able to benefit them just as much as they benefit you, and that's a big deal for me.
Yep.
And I need to make sure I'm able to do that, and that's the big thing for next year that I'm going to have to prepare for.
I want to ask you a question. Are you open to representing a company whose products that you completely don't believe in?
It'd be very hard for me to do it because I don't like to be fake.
Great answer.
It's
Great.
hard.
You just won. Great answer.
It's a super hard thing to do. Like, so when you're on stage and when you're on Bass Live and you have cameras all over you, people can see the true side of people. They can see what's real, what's fake. Especially when you're on the water, they can see what you're using. They can see everything. And when people realize that, you lose a lot of integrity. And I would have a very hard time having to do that. And I just don't think it's something that I can do, and it's not for me personally. I know people do it and get away with it, but I don't think it's something that I could probably pull off in the future.
Well, Marshall Altman, and I know you know the name and the family, Marshall's Marine. Marshall Altman told me 14 years ago when I got into television business, he said, Dale Earnhardt, can't drive a Chevy on Sunday and sell a Ford on Monday, buddy. It just don't work.
Exactly right.
And that is so perfect.
It's exactly right. And those are great guys over at Marshall's Marine. I'm actually talking with them, trying to work some stuff out for next year, because those guys are some standout people in our local area, and I really would love to work with them in the future. And just super excited to see what the future could bring. And I know they're great people and they do great work. And that's the kind of people that's when I talk about people that I believe in. That's the kind of people that I believe in and want to associate myself with.
Wow,
So
you and I are on the same page, and I've got some things in the works with your mom and dad that you don't know about, but it's nothing major. But we were talking, and I've been wanting to kind of ask them, hey, have y'all been to Marshall's and talked to them yet? Because I know you, and I know the person you are. I know the athlete that you are. I know everything you stand for. And everything you stand for is what Marshall stand for, and I don't see anything but positives for everybody if there was to become a marriage of some sort through there. I know your boats. I know your boat you run now, and you've been in that species of boat for a while, haven't you?
No, actually, this is my first year with the boat company I'm with now, and just kind of trying to figure out some stuff for next year, and just kind of see what doors open, and kind of see, take it step by step. This is all very new to me. My dad's never done it before, so I really don't have much guidance, and I'm just kind of working my way through it. But the main thing with me is I don't think, product is always amazing, but it's people that you're really working with, and I don't think there's really many better people, in my opinion, than Marshall Marine. So that's the main thing that I'm going to do in the future, because I've tried to chase products,
Yep.
but if you don't work with people, people is what makes things go round.
You're
I truly believe that.
you're spot on, dude. Are you like taking a class every night or something in this? But you,
No,
dude, you are so spot on because I found myself, completely different, completely different spectrum. But I find myself with opportunities, and I look at the products and I look at the people, and I'm like, man, I just cannot go on the radio on Saturday mornings. I cannot go on the podcast, and I do not want to promote them. Like, I don't believe in their product. I don't believe in, quite honestly, them, and I just can't do it. But bills got to get paid. But it doesn't. At some point, we all have to decide. Is it all about the money, or are we looking to do the right thing? And quite honestly, what does JT Thompkins like? What suits him better? And that's the same way with me, man. I'm picky, and it's cost me money. Ask my wife. Preach it. My wife's an accountant. She preaches to me all the time. But at that point is when I'm like, I just can't do a good job for them. I want to become part of my partners and my sponsors are family to me. They are. Every single one of them, and you're talking about one of them right now. But they are family to me. Like, hell, I went and cooked lunch for Marshall's Marine in Lake City, which, by the way, don't ever offer that until you go put a mortgage out on your house because, dude, they had 44 people working on a weekday. But I went over and cooked fish for them and cooked fish over in Georgetown at Marshall's, and those people are what they give me the opportunity. That boat that I have in my driveway today is my opportunity to do and share what I get to do. And without Marshalls, it doesn't happen. And knowing how supportive they are of Lake City, Georgetown, Myrtle Beach, every area that they're in, and how supportive they are of the sport of fishing and everything related to it, just makes it so much easier, and it makes it a ton of fun. And man, I'll be saying prayers for you, dude, and I'll be saying prayers for Marshalls because you're an asset, dude. You are an asset, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to hurt you with anybody else, so I'm not gonna continue to beat a dead horse, but I'm just gonna say this much: in my thoughts, in my mind, you're an asset for Marshall's Marine, and you would be, and you've got a long, long, long road ahead of you. And again, a lot like Marshall's Marine now, 58 years, I believe, 56. I think you've got a long future. I don't think 56 years, but hey, who knows? Hey, Rick Klunk can do it. You can do it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's no telling how far I decide to, take the fishing game, because you never know what's going to happen in the sport either.
Amen. Amen. Now, you already have. Now, are you going to be able to? Let's talk about it. We are talking a different value to your sponsors, okay? Now, are you going to be able to secure and hold on to some of your current sponsors that may not have quite the investment that you'll obviously be due? I'll say that. You've earned it. That may not be able to afford that investment. Will you be able to maintain some of those sponsorships?
Yeah, I think I'll be able to maintain almost all of my sponsorships going into next year. I'm really big into the people, and I feel like the people who I've surrounded myself already are believers in me from the beginning. And I'm growing as well, and I know that they're growing, and there's no reason that I can't help. Like, if I ever get a chance to help build them up, I know they already helped build me up. So, it's probably, if I ever do get in that position, it's probably just my turn to help pull them up a little bit and do my part in the whole entire, relationship that we've built. So I'm going to try my best to keep every one of my sponsors that I already have, and, hopefully bring on some new ones that are, super ambitious and looking forward to what my future looks like, and hopefully some new people who believe in what I'm doing and, believe in what I could do for them as well. So definitely looking forward to, and, opportunities are in every corner. It's just all about putting yourself in the right position around the right people. And I'm just super excited to, as soon as I get Harris over, to kind of get on the phone and get talking with people and, start setting up some things, because I'm super excited to get all that done. I'm actually really excited to go see all the guys at Marshall's Marine. I haven't had a chance to do it. I've been so busy, but I'd like to go over there and build an actual personal relationship with a lot of people and
Yep.
show them what I'm about and see where these relationships can go.
Well, I can tell you that you've got a great word coming to Marshall's Marine from me. So I know I don't know that it carries much weight, but again, I've been with them for 14 years. So you do have a big kind word coming from me to them. I can promise you, and probably not long after this phone call ends. But at any rate, dude. So you mentioned a sponsor yesterday that I'm really intrigued about, and I'll tell you why. I've had some issues with some parts of my puzzle on my boat, and I've got a new boat coming. And it sounds to me like this company makes about everything you need for the boat. Are they a manufacturer, a fabricator? What do they do? Tell me about them real quick. You were mentioning, I think, anything for the boat is what it sounds like they do. Is that? Am I right with that?
Pretty close. It's mostly on the electronic side and accessory side. So the name is K&K Customs, and they're one of the biggest sellers of. I know they sell almost the highest amount of power pole products in the nation right now.
Yep.
But they also sell everything. They sell Raptors. They sell all the graphs. They sell harnesses. They sell the transducers. They sell jack plates. They really do it all. Trolling motors. So if you're ever trying to get everyone's trying to get this new power pole trolling motor.
Yep.
And if you cannot go to Power Pole and just get it right now. It's out of stock constantly. It's super hard to get.
Right.
But if you actually go online and follow K&K Customs, and it's, you can go on their website, and every single week that I've been with them, they've had at least multiple Power Pole trolling motors come on their site. And the new Power Pole trolling motor is phenomenal. It's the fastest. It's the strongest. It's the lightest. There's not a single thing that Power Pole has done with that trolling motor that is not the best. So if you're trying to get trying to get a new trolling motor for your boat, it's got a lifetime warranty on the shaft. So it's a trolling motor that you're going to have for your entire life. It's not like all the other trolling motors in the industry where you got to replace it every 2, maybe 3 years.
Right.
Because you burn them up and they break down. This one is more of a investment. It's like lithium batteries. It's going to be a little more expensive.
Yep.
But you're going to have a lot longer warranty. It's going to last way longer, and you don't have to sit there because the thing is, you spend a little bit less money, but then you got to fix it. That's a couple $100s, and then in the future you got to buy another one. Then you just doubled your money. Then you had to fix it. Then you had to pay for installation, pay to take it out. Then it's just a pain in the butt all the time on you having to fix it. So this buying a trolling motor as good as the Power Pole, it just saves you so much money and headache in the future that it honestly makes everything worth it. And you can go on K&K Customs. Actually, right now, I'm pretty sure they actually have them in stock. I got a notification a little bit ago that they have them in stock again. That no one has them in stock, and these guys do because they're super on top of everything.
Yep.
And any graphs you need for your boat, I know a lot of people are trying to get into the graphs and understanding. They have every single graph you can need for your boat. Power poles, Raptors, trolling motors, jack plates, transducers, almost anything that you need. These guys got it, and they are super good to work with. They support me, and anytime you can support people that support the anglers, it helps the fishing industry so much more than a lot of other places you can spend your money, because you know where that money's going. It's going right back into the anglers that you love to follow and support, and it's just another way to support us. And I really appreciate this company jumping on board with me, and just go check them out because they're an awesome company to purchase your stuff through.
Yeah, I'm going to share a link somewhere for their website when I post this, and I'll tell you because I saw they had transducers, they had everything that I was looking for options. We're looking for other options because, I don't have the same setup you have. I have my live scope is set up mid-berth on the boat, right beside me on the port side of the boat on a bracket, and I use it with my hand. In the salt water, and it works great there. And I'm really promoting it hard with people and trying to get it in the salt water and let people realize how big. I mean, I wasn't going to get on the Garmin Panoptix live scope thing with you, but I mean, people don't realize in saltwater how big a game changer it is until they get on the boat with me and let me go show them sheep's head at 6 foot down eating off the side of a piling that they would have never thought were there. Or I could go show them 100 black drum sitting in a 10-foot hole and the smallest black drum in there being 16 inches, and I can tell them that before they even start fishing. Um, it's unbelievable, and I think that it's getting a lot of a negative attention right now, and I think a lot of anglers have brought that negative attention to it, and I think that the negative attention it's getting is not warranted. And I say that in a sense, I watch bass fishing. A lot of it in part to you, a lot of it in part to Patrick Walters. I love watching bass fishing. I don't really care if you're watching a computer screen because you're doing your job. And if that makes you better and it makes your job performance better, then so be it. Every single angler can have it. So where's it cheating? It's not cheating. It's fair. I do know that there was like a week and a half, 2 weeks long that a lot of professional anglers were beating the heck out of it. And some of them were giving you the idea that they were beaten out of it, but honestly, they really just wanted, the feedback from the fans that watch it. And, is it ruining your experience? Man, I still love watching y'all fish. I don't care if you're looking at the screen or not. I think it's a blast. I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts real quick on that? Because I know you've kind of jumped on that wagon a little bit too, right?
Absolutely, you have to. Like, anytime you're in a sport and there's something new, you never want to get beat by something new. So you want to be one of the innovators. Every time you hear about like the best in the world, they were always the first on every bandwagon. Like, they were the first ones to start it. They were the ones that mastered it in the beginning. So I tried to get on it as fast as I possibly could, because I know that's what I have to do to be able to do my job properly and most efficiently. So that's what I did, and I think it's getting a lot of bad rap because, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. One interesting fact that like I find very interesting is, everyone talks about the good old days when we used to watch, bass fishing and how entertaining it was. Well, yes, it was entertaining, but we also didn't have lives. So you're trying to find entertainment in an 8-hour segment whenever you used to find entertainment in a 1-hour segment of an 8-hour tournament day. That was so you're trying to find entertainment in a highlight reel that you've always found. Like, what's more fun, watching a highlight reel of golf or watching an entire game of golf with not much commentary? The real deal.
Right.
A true golf fan will find entertainment in the live, but the majority are going to love watching a highlight reel of Tiger Woods, bending it around a tree and dropping it right next to the flag. They love watching that stuff. It's just, for a lot of people, it's not quite as entertaining. So technically, yes, it was more entertaining back in the day, but it was because those 8-hour tournament days we never watched. We never had live. It's something very new.
Yep.
So when they start watching this, it's through like, they're not realizing that you're trying to find entertainment in an 8-hour segment that you've always watched in a compact in an hour long segment. It's just not gonna have the same entertainment factor, and you just gotta understand that going into it.
Yep.
And that's just how it works. So I think that's one really big part of it. That's why people don't think it's entertaining. And then I also think it's not as entertaining because I don't think it's covered properly. Yes, I don't like that we're staring at a dude's back. I think either Garmin, Humminbird, or Lowrance should come out with the technology that we can broadcast Bluetooth what our screens are looking at. So you on one side of the screen you have the angler, on one side you have a screen, so the viewers can actually understand what's going on and what we're doing. Because it is nowhere near as simple as they make it sound. As you see a dot, you cast to it, he bites. It's not that simple. It takes a lot of work, and I feel like we're in a lot of growing pains right now with the way the sport is going, and I think very soon we're going to have a lot better opportunities with this stuff, and we need to make the best of it. It's a new part of the sport. I think it's going to be around to stay. We just need to learn how to cover it better, and I think everything will work out properly. But so I really enjoy the technology, and I think a lot of other people. I mean, the funny thing is, I know a lot of everyone says, oh, the older people don't like it. I've met a lot of older people that are crappie fishermen, bass fishermen, and it makes their day so much easier.
Yep.
Like it allows them to not have to go out there every day of the week to stay on the fish. They can kind of ease around, pick a fish off here, pick a fish off there that they never would have caught before. And, it makes a tournament day, or not a tournament day, it makes, fun fishing a lot more entertaining when you don't have those days where you don't catch anything, because Pan-Ops does allow you to dial in a lot faster. So I think there's a lot of good to it, but I also think it needs to be explored in a lot different light. Is my number one opinion about it. I think it needs to be hit at a different angle.
Yep. I'm heading this weekend, Sunday, to a writers convention at Santee with Whitey Outlaw, who's one of the world-renowned crappie fishermen, and several other of those, and a couple businesses in the crappie world, big businesses, to spend a couple days. And 1 year ago, was where I was officially introduced to live scope with this group. And I got to watch Tony Carter throw a 1/32 ounce jig. He threw it out 50 feet from the boat. I watched it sink. I watched a crappie that was probably a quarter of a pound or smaller swim out of a tree pile, eat it, and watched him reel it into the boat. And we got done with that. I've still got the video on my phone. We got done, and I said, dude, I want one of those. This is a game changer for the saltwater. This is a game changer. And, man, ever since then, it is just like I can understand now more and more why you guys are relying on it. I mean, you think about the number of bass that you're opening up the opportunities with by using it. That typically, what would you say? The saying is 90% of the fish get caught by 10% of the fishermen. Honestly, beforehand, y'all were probably only fishing 10% of the water when you fish the old style. You know what I mean? Now you're opening up a completely new fishery.
Yes, 100%. Like I've heard a lot of people say, like Champlain, we're killing the smallmouth population. We're beating them to death and all sorts of stuff. No, so an interesting way of looking at it is, so for years we always had to go around to the bank and catch the same fish year after year. Because bank fish are bank fish. They're going to live on the bank. They're probably going to stay on the bank. So we caught the same population of fish for years and years and years and years. Well, now that we're figuring out how to catch these offshore fish, we're actually giving a lot of fish in the lake a break that they much have needed over the last 20 years. So we're actually spreading out the pressure of these lakes a lot more. It's actually a lot better for the fisheries with Panoptics. Maybe not crappie nearly as much as bass, but I know bass, we're actually spreading out the pressure a lot more because we're able to access, instead of focusing in on 10% of the population, we're allowed to attempt to catch 90% of the population.
Right.
And I think it allows us to, not beat these same fish we've caught for years to death over and over and over, year after year after year. And I think it spreads out the pressure on these fish and actually makes it a lot better on the fish. But like I said, there's definitely to look at it in every single light. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that disagree, but that's just some views that I would, like to put out there and kind of my own little opinion.
Well, I'll tell you what, brother, I think you hit the nail on the head. And I mean, once again, showing your vast amount of maturity beyond your 21 years of age. We mentioned Bassmaster Classic earlier. Obviously, last week, 2 weeks ago, last week. Good Lord, man, they're back to back. Sorry. Obviously, you really wanted that win. Obviously, that trip, that chance to go back to the Classic, is right there on the top of your list, I'm sure. You still have another week, right? Now, if you qualify at the top of the EQ points, do you also get an invite or no?
No. So the only way to get an invite is actually win a Bass Open.
All right.
So that's the only way I can do it.
All right. Watch out, Harris Chain, because here comes JT. But, dude, it looked to me, I followed you. I got to watch it all through social media, through Bass Live. I mean, was it as much fun as it looked like you were having? I mean, is it? I mean, is it truly just the Super Bowl of bass fishing?
So for years and years, I always heard it hyped up, and I was like, man, it's just another tournament. Like, I mean, honestly, that's the way I always thought, and like everyone hyped it up. Every single person I ever met hyped it up so much. And I was like, there's no way. And then you get there, and then you're in Knoxville, and then everyone around there, like you're 2 hours away from the place, and there's billboards, with the tournament that you're about to go fish on it, and you're driving into town, and then there's signs everywhere. There's people wearing shirts. The hotel you pull up in, on the floor of the hotel, they have all the information of the Bassmaster Classic, when to watch. Like when you walk up there behind their screens, they have the entire schedule of the Bassmaster Classic. Like everything in that town was dedicated to the Bassmaster Classic. One of the biggest cities was dedicated to one tournament for an entire week. And to be a part of that it blew away every bit of hype that every single person ever could have possibly told me. Because whenever you step in a massive arena that's sold, it's packed out, almost every seat is full, and you walk in that room, it's like nothing else you could ever experience. And being there, and then also the people, you get to hang out with all the anglers you've watched your entire life, you've looked up to, and then you're sitting right next to them at blast off competing against those guys. So every bit of hype that I ever thought, it couldn't reach, it blew it away. And to get back there is one of my biggest dreams. And that's why I fished the way I have the last 3 tournaments. I've been shooting for the win and nothing else. And I'm going to keep doing that until I get back. So I couldn't hype it up enough, but just know if you ever make it, it'll blow away anything you ever thought.
Well, I tell you what, it looks so enjoyable, and I know this year they're going to Oklahoma. You guys will be in Oklahoma, Cherokee Lake? No, Lake of the Cherokees. Is that right? What's the lake? Is that right?
Yeah, it's Grand Lake of the Cherokees.
Yeah, Grand Lake of the Cherokees. That's right. And a lot of your future competitors, I think, there's quite a few that are from out that area, aren't they?
I know a few. I know definitely a few anglers from that area of Oklahoma. So it's definitely going to be an interesting event on how it goes, and I think it's going to be a really competitive event. We got Jason Christie. He's already won a Bassmaster Classic. That's his home body of water, and he's probably one of the most fierce competitors. So you get to see him shoot for a second one, and it's going to be a very interesting tournament to watch.
Yep. All right. So we mentioned social media. We talked a little bit about that, and you. Here's the deal. It takes so much time out of your schedule, dude, to, listen, all right, Jacob Wheeler, probably him and Ike, I'll put them right there together probably, and G-Man, of course, but probably Jacob has probably took it to the upper level, upper echelon when it came to social media, and man, but there's a lot of editing, there's a lot of different things that you either A, got to hire somebody to do, or B, take a lot of time to do, to put all those videos out and do stuff. But do you see yourself in the next year starting to move to doing more of that? Because, I mean, it does seem like that's kind of got to be a part of everything. It needs to be a part of your life and of who you are, and presenting your sponsors in a different light other than just on the tournament, in the tournaments on the bow of the boat. But what are your thoughts on that? We may have covered it, but in a different perspective. But I just wanted to ask, where do you see yourself going with this, with the social media and the video and everything else?
Absolutely. So I'm really excited to open up the door, because I'm definitely going to pursue the social media side of everything. I know I have to, and it's something that I'm actually really excited to do. I'm probably going to.
Oh, hang on. Right. There you go. I got you back now. Got you back. I lost you for a minute. You there?
Oh, okay.
Yep, I lost you for a minute.
Can you
there
hear
you
me?
go. Yeah, I got you, buddy. Sorry. Hey, that's the joys of a phone call. So I missed that part. So you are gonna you're planning on exploring and getting into more of the video stuff?
Yes, 100%. So next year I'm definitely going to be hiring some people to help me out with it, just to grow my brand and help. Because the number one thing is when you got sponsors, you got to represent your sponsors just as well as they help you, and even more. So I know that social media is the number one way that I can help my sponsors out and help them help me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to be as good of a person as I can be to my sponsors and try to help them every chance I get, represent them, on the biggest stages, and try to get as much going as I can as soon as possible. Because hopefully I'm going to have a long career, and I just see how everything works out.
I tell you what, dude, I'm kind of biased because I am a huge JT Thompkins fan, but I don't think there's any way that you don't have a wonderful, wonderful long career, successful career. I did have the fortune of meeting Patrick Walters very early on. Actually, he was here, and your dad and I spoke because your dad and you guys had even talked to him a little bit, I think, prior to the college national championship that was down here. But I did have the pleasure of doing one of his first interviews, his first year on the Elite Series, and we met down here at Huntington when they came to Winyah Bay, and we hung out for a while. And man, honestly, a lot of you guys remind me of each other. I do know that he did the same, had the same perspective as you in the sense that he put life on hold for, his future. I mean, you say you put it on hold for a sport, you put it on hold for your business, but in all honesty, you're putting the present on hold for the future when you dedicate yourself to it. Don't you agree with me on that?
Oh, 100% every way.
Well, I know that I know that your goals that you've been setting every year, you far exceeded them. I know that. But let's talk real quick in closing. Let's talk about goals for next year. Obviously, it's going to be some growing pains. We've talked about time management and everything else. Obviously, some new bodies of water that you may not have fished yet. But that preparation all comes in starting this week, if I'm not mistaken. But your preparation, your plans, and all the work ethic that you have is incredible. But let's talk about goals and achievements, the objectives that you have for next year real quick. I mean, can you just give me a Cliff Note version of things in your mind, or have you had a time to even sit down and kind of bundle it all together? But shooting off the hip, what are some goals that JT Thompkins Fishing has for next year?
So my number one goal is to qualify for the Bassmaster Classic.
Yep.
And so the top 40 guaranteed go to the Bassmaster Classic. But the number one goal that encompasses almost everything that my goal is Rookie of the Year. That's something I'm looking forward to. It's something that you only got one chance to do.
Right.
There's 9 guys, and there's only going to be one of us that come out on top. So that's going to be the goal, is Rookie of the Year. And if I can get that done, that'll be a huge step forward in my career.
Yep.
And just super looking forward to getting on the elites and working towards that goal. I can't wait to start this winter. I'm going to be bouncing around every single lake I could possibly go to and spending as much time as all of I can before all of our cutoffs. And I'm super excited to get it started. And that's going to be my number one goal, is Rookie of the Year. And of course, I want to win an event and get to the Bassmaster Classic that way as well. But Rookie of the Year is probably my number one goal.
Well, that's a pretty good goal to set, and I think other goals will happen. You know what I mean? Other goals will happen if you're if you accomplish that. You know what I mean? It's obvious that other things that will happen because of your setting your targets at that. And man, I tell you, has anybody ever won Angler of the Year and Rookie of the Year in the same year? Did Patrick? He didn't win that, did he? No. But
no, Takahiro Mori's the only one to ever do it.
Oh, okay. Old Talk. Well, there you go. I just put you a new goal out there. I just put a new goal out there for you. I'm just kidding. Hey.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely the goal.
Well, I got one last question in closing. Who's been the most influential bass fisherman? And I know other people can influence us in our lives, but who's been the biggest influence on you in bass fishing up to this point?
Definitely my dad. Like, he by far was the most influential on everything I've done. And, just following in his footsteps, he's always paved the way for, working hard to get what you want and doing it that way. And that's kind of the path I've decided to take. And that's just the only way I know how to do things. Work extremely hard, try to get as much done as you can, as fast as you can, and do it right.
Wow. Well, I knew you were going there. I knew you were going there. Timmy, your boy made you proud. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Listen, again, we'll be following you. Do you have a website yet? Or are you still social media only, JT Thompkins Fishing, correct?
Yes, that's about as good as you're going to get for now. But soon, going into next year, I'm going to have a full website, full of my resume, and I'm going to try to really get in on all of that and try to get it as professional and neat looking as possible going into my Elite Series year. So,
well, I tell you what, I can tell you on behalf of everybody here along the Grand Strand, the Myrtle Beach area. I live in Myrtle's Inlet, but we're all the same, Anyway, we are super proud of you, and I'm super proud to call you a friend. I love pulling for you every week. Win or lose, the thing about you is you make all of us proud. And when you leave a lake, we all know anybody that follows you, anybody that pulls for you, even some people that may not pull for you, they know when you leave a lake that you have left everything on the lake. Whether, again, win or lose. I mean, Kevin Van Dam probably has lost more than anybody else in bass fishing, and he's the winningest bass angler of all time. But you can't win them all.
Yes.
We all know that,
You're 100% right. This is probably the most losingest sport there is in the world. There's no sport that you can lose so much and still be one of the best in the world. So it's definitely a very interesting dynamic to the sport.
Absolutely, and I had to educate my brother on that when we were watching the weigh-in on Saturday. We were watching weigh-in on Saturday, and a couple big names came up, and he's like, "Why are they fishing in this?" I'm like, "Dude, all the big names fishing this, guy. I mean, at the end of the day, a true professional bass fisherman love bass fishing, and also if you haven't qualified for the Classic, you can win an Open and get in the Classic. So they're trying, they do it because they love the sport. They do it for the competition. They do it because, hey, that berth to the Classic is huge. The $43,000 is great too, but I mean that berth to the Classic is what it's all about, and that's why all the big names show up there. And it's like, again, it's just been so great to see all of y'all, all the. I say rookies, but all you EQ guys that just have, over the last 3 months or last 3 tournaments, really just kind of set the standard so high, and just continue to have yourself up top. And, dude, you're beating really good anglers. I mean, and the thing is, there are a lot of big names are great anglers, but there's a lot of great anglers that don't have big names, and you're beating them too. It's just, going through that EQ and going through those Opens is not easy. It is very tough, and that is why I'm saying, again, huge congrats on the last couple weeks and on this year in particular, but really on just consistency and being up top out of all those competitors. And, man, we are going to be cheering for you hard here at Trilogy Outdoors. We can't wait for the Harris Chain, and I know big things are in your future, and we're so proud of you, brother, and we wish you the best of luck and safe travels.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity to come on this podcast, and really appreciate all the support over the last few years. It really means a lot.
Well, man, it is fun to support you. It's easy, and that's what I keep telling everybody. It's like, it's so easy to be a fan of his. Like, I mean, if you don't, you mentioned the Tiger Woods. You mentioned, if you don't like pulling for somebody who puts their heart on the line every day when they hit the water, who puts every bit of their being in that boat with them and leaves it on the water, then you're not a true fan. But it's hard not to pull for you. Again, we'll be pulling for you hard, brother. And when we get off this phone and I got to go pick my son up, I'm going to be making a phone call to Marshall's Marine and putting my 2 cents in. But at any rate, buddy, You know I'm here for you. Anything you need, you give me a shout. And anytime you got a bunch of video, you want somebody to edit it, send it to me, brother. I'll take care of you. I'll help you out. So, but, man, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and joining me here on Trilogy Outdoors. And, again, man, safe travels to you, and best of luck at Harris Chain, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Take care, JT. All right. I'll tell you what. I'm completely honored that he took the time out today. And, again, I can't speak enough of the last 3 weeks, last 3 tournaments, how incredibly consistent he's been. But he's got one more tournament to go. He wants to get that Angler of the Year in the Opens, and we'll be cheering for him, and hope you will too. I'll share all of his links on our pages, on our social media as well. And don't forget, you can go to TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com. Check out everything, including our new September magazine that's out on all the websites. It's also in a bunch of stands throughout the Grand Strand, and hopefully one day going to be out, spreading out a little bit further. Southern Anglers Radio Show every Saturday morning on Gator 107.9. And, of course, Trilogy Outdoors Podcast. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're not going to leave you again for 3 weeks, okay? I'm sorry, but we are back, and it's fall. Y'all get outdoors. Go hunting, fishing. Remember, fins, fur, and feathers. You find it right here on Trilogy Outdoors.
Trilogy Outdoors Podcast is a product of Trilogy Outdoors Media. All views and opinions of our hosts and guests are not necessarily those of our sponsors. Trilogy Outdoors is produced and edited by Trilogy Outdoors Media. Be sure to follow us on all the podcast platforms as well as our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also, don't forget our other brands, Southern English Radio Show and Walk 'Em All Outdoor Magazine. To find more information, visit TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com. And remember, if it's anything dealing with fins, fur, and feathers, you're going to find it right here on Trilogy Outdoors.